2 years into his premiership, Tony Blair came into the studio with one of his manifesto pledges apparently conveniently forgotten, but not by the Question Time audience. We've got a few minutes left.
Yes.
Where are you? Yes?
You may remember some time ago that 400 plus MPs voted to ban fox hunting. When will it be banned?
It will be banned. I mean, we'll get the vote to ban it as soon as we possibly can. We had one try at it last session. It was blocked by Conservatives in the House of Commons and the House of Lords, and we're looking now at ways of bringing it forward in a future session that allow people to have a vote and actually carry it through.
And 5 years later, it's still not settled. Here is Ken Livingstone infuriating Frank Dobson, Labour's official candidate for Mayor of London, by refusing to declare whether he would stand against him. You've said over and over again, I will not stand as an independent. Everybody here wishes to know whether you will or will not stand by an independent.
Now, I'm sorry, but I'm going to take time with the Labour Party to work out the way forward.
But so you are considering standing?
I'm listening to London.
You're considering standing?
I'm also making it clear I still want the Labour nomination. I want Labour to wake up to the fact you can't have a system like this.
Well, let me make it clear, Ken. I've made my mind up. I'll say it to your face. I am the official Labour candidate. I am not going to stand down. So, no matter how much you and your friends organise within the Labour Party in London to try to have a go at me about this, I will not change my mind. I will be the official Labour candidate. So as far as I'm concerned, you can say now, are you going to support me or are you going to stand separately? Go on, make my day. Well,
Ken Livingstone duly stood as an independent candidate against Frank Dobson and won. Back in 1981, 4 senior Labour Party members announced that they were going to leave the party because they thought it was moving too far to the left. One of the so-called Gang of 4, David Owen, happened to be on the panel with David Steel, then leader of the Liberals. And remember, this is well before the Gang of 4 had launched their SDP.
Mr. Steele, I understand this is the first occasion on this programme that you've ever had the chance of discussing this matter directly with Dr. Owen. Would you like to take advantage of it?
In recent times, well, I don't propose to conduct a love-in with Dr. Owen on your programme. And certainly not to
I can think of no better place.
And certainly not to live in sin either with him or anybody else. But a marriage is a possibility, which I think we should look toward.
What's your response to that, David Owen?
Well, there's no question of a marriage. There may well be a need for an electoral arrangement whereby you don't fight each other.
No question of an alliance with the Liberal Party?
I think at this stage, the only thing that is at issue is how can you work together.
In 2001, just 2 days after the attacks of September the 11th, Question Time mounted a special programme. The BBC apologised for the timing of this edition, in which the audience harried the former American ambassador.
Does the bombing in America represent a failure in US foreign policy, with millions and millions of people all around the world despising the American nation?
Philip Labour.
I'll respond to the last several questions as I respond to you. President Bush has made it clear that once it is determined with certainty who is to blame, that any nation which harbors such individuals shall also be held accountable. We must be reflective on why there are these attitudes towards the United States. But if I may,
let him speak.
But if I may,
he's saying what you're saying.
But
I think. Well, all right.
I'll
bring you in.
May I continue?
If you listen to him, I'll bring you in. All right.
But that is not a justification for any individual around this globe to celebrate what we've seen as the utter disregard for the sanctity of human life.
But America, for God's sake, wake up to what you are doing in the Middle East. And when you wake up, then you will solve the problems and you will prevent what happened on Tuesday. And that's the only way really to do that.
Alan Clark got a ticking off from Mrs. Thatcher when he sounded off about her decision on defence procurement.
Margaret Thatcher said she was batting for Britain Why wasn't she batting for Britain today, when her government awarded the contract for a new missile, not to British Aerospace for their Sea Eagle, but to an American company for their Harpoon missile?
I must admit that I very much regret when a major weapons contract goes outside this country, where the equivalent can be made in England.
Is there anyone here who wishes to defend the government on this, because its minister doesn't?
Claire Short has often spoken her mind. Here she is, castigating Bill Clinton for his involvement with Monica Lewinsky, just at the time that her own boss, Tony Blair, was offering his support.
If he'd been a British Prime Minister, he would have gone. I'm glad to say about our system. It's clear he's not going to go. It's clear he's going to hang on. I think also we're all sick of hearing about it. It kind of pollutes our radios and so on. There's all this messy detail endlessly coming out. He's weakened, and it's very unfortunate to have a weakened President of the United States at a time when the world's economy is in the condition it is. But I think he's going to hang on, and then it's up to the American system.
But you prefer him to have gone? You say you were glad under our system he would have gone?
I think a politician that's done that much, told that many lies, isn't really fit to be a leader. But the American people appear to take another view, and he's not going to go, so it's up to them.
Scotland's First Minister Henry McLeish came on when he was under pressure to explain his use of parliamentary expenses.
If I, for a minute, had benefited personally from any of this, then I would have no hesitation in saying that and adopting the consequences, but I clearly didn't.
The man there in the blue shirt, you, sir.
Henry, you're quite a nice chap, and I believe you were a good footballer. For goodness sake, show some integrity, hand in your notice.
And 2 days later, he did just that. Others have fared no better. Tory Foreign Secretary Francis Pym was too candid for Mrs. Thatcher's liking about her prospects in the forthcoming general election.
Yes, does the panel think that if the Tory party gets in with a landslide majority, it will damage the social fabric of the country?
What do you say to that, Francis Pym?
Well, first of all, I think a landslide is unlikely. I think landslides, on the whole, don't produce successful governments. 1945 was the obvious one, this massive landslide to Labour. I think that was extremely unfortunate, so I don't think that's likely to happen.
At the time, I didn't think it was a gaffe at all. It seemed to me a perfectly sensible point to make. Governments do best when they're pressed, when they're under pressure, when things aren't too easy for them. It seemed to me a simply democratic judgment about how Parliament works.
I think that a majority between 50 and 100 would be better than one that was in three figures.
I have a wish to congratulate Andy Davis as an A-level student. It's the first time I've heard anyone elicit from a politician the answer that he doesn't want a landslide victory.
As a result of which, Mrs. Thatcher sacked him outright, no other offers, out of the cabinet. And poor Mr. Pym was consigned to the outer darkness forthwith.